Good morning. Today we're on week 1, day 1. And this week you will learn to make connections. When good readers read, they are often reminded of something they've seen, done, or read before. They make a connection with what is happening or how the characters are feeling in the story. This helps them better understand the passage. It is important, though, to stay focused on the text and not let our connection distract us. The instructions at the top of this page say, think about what you would do if you were Rosa. As I read, I'm going to think about how I would act if the events in the story were happening to me. This is called Rosa to the Rescue. One Saturday morning, Rosa opened the door. On the ground in front of her was a tiny baby bird. Rosa bent down to look at it. The bird did not move. Then its beak opened. If I was in that situation, what would I do? What would you do? I would probably look to see if the mama bird was around. I'd probably look to see if it was hurt or if I needed to, I'd probably look to see if my cat was anywhere around that might want to eat the bird. I'd want to help it so that it was safe. What do you think you would do if you saw a situation like this? Mom, Dad, Rosa called. Her parents came to the door. The baby bird was standing now. It must have fallen from its nest, Rosa's father said. I'll call the wildlife center. That's a good thing to do as well if you need help with an animal that's sick. They will tell us what to do. You and Mom should just watch the little guy. We did the right thing, said Dad when he returned. It's a good thing we didn't take the bird into the house. We would have kept its parents from caring for it. Most likely the parent birds are nearby. They are waiting for us to leave. Rosa, Mom, and Dad went into the house and peeked out the window. Look, I bet it's the mother bird, whispered Rosa. A large bird was poking gently at the baby. A moment later, both birds flew up to a low tree branch. Yippee, cried Rosa. So now you're going to finish the questions, and it says a time when I took care of a baby bird or other animal was. And this story kind of makes me think of when I was a kid, because I had some neighbor kids that were not that nice to animals. And they would kind of climb up trees and take baby birds. And I was always talking them into giving the animals that they'd taken to me, and I would try to save them and help them. Because if they kept them, then the animals would probably die because they would kind of be rough and not really care. And one time, one bird I remember especially, I talked them into giving to me, and my mom and I tried to give it food and things like that, but baby birds are very, very hard to take care of. And so I think I didn't have a place I could call when I was a kid to ask what to do or to help me. Like in this story, they called the wildlife center. But I did my best for the baby bird. but it's best if you can find somebody that knows what they're doing that could help for sure. And in this case, it was best just to leave the bird because the mama came. Mama birds are the best ones to take care of baby birds. So when I read this story, it made me think of what happened to me when I was a kid. Now you are going to read these. You're going to work on skill practice. And number 1 says, who is the passage about? That's talking about the characters in the story. A family who wanted a pet bird, a family who cares about animals, a father who makes a phone call, a mother who looks out the window. So sometimes there are quite a few answers that would work, but you got to pick the best answer. What is the best of these answers? Number 2, how does Rosa know the bird is alive? It opens its eyes, it moves its head, it moves its wings, it opens its mouth. Well, that is a little hard to remember exactly what it did. So sometimes if you can't remember, it's okay to look back, because I know that we read something about that. And it was at the beginning of the story, so I can look back here. Rosa bent down to look at it. The baby bird did not move. Then its beak opened. And then the baby bird was standing. Okay, so let's go back down here and look at the questions. It opens its eyes. It moves its head. It moves its wing, or it opens its mouth. What is a beak? A beak is kind of around its mouth. So by looking back, we can tell that D is the best answer there. Number 3, at the end of the passage, Rosa is, again, we might have to look back at this. The end of the passage would be things that happen down here. Oh, and I see the last line. It says, "Yippee!" cried Rosa. What does yippee mean? Does it mean that she was sad, that she was quiet, that she was worried, or that she was happy? Number 4 says, where does the passage take place? And that's talking about the setting of the story. In a park. Do you remember, was the family in a park where this took place? In an office, at Rosa's home, at Rosa's school. And this one's kind of easy. I can just remember this myself, but if you aren't sure, you could always go back to the passage. And it says, Rosa opened the door. On the ground in front of her was a tiny baby bird. And then her parents came to the door. Later on, we find out. So, what door do you think that belonged to if the whole family was there and could come to the door? Do you think that it was at Rosa's school? Would Rosa's parents be there in school with her and they could just come to the door? Do you think maybe it was Rosa's home, in an office, or in a park?